Hello, everybody. Welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, I also publish on Rumble, on the blogger site, and on Patreon for extra support. And any kind of updates and such, I usually go about Twitter X platform. And mainly regarding live streams, I always tweet there when I go live. Which again I cannot commit to proper scheduling because of my freelancer schedule, which is always all over the place. But I did yesterday. I didn't manage to go about publishing the Star Wars Jedi Survivor episode again. I didn't have time, but again, I'm kind of stuck on a boss. I don't want to get into too much spoilers if you are catching up, if you are watching that gameplay series. When I have time and I manage to get around and defeat that boss, I will continue to publish the Survivor episodes. I didn't give up on that. But today we're going to have the last episode of Dead Space Remake. It's going to be the final one, and at the end of the video, I give my overall thoughts of the game there. Um, then again, I've been I think I'm going for Midnight Suns. I mentioned this yesterday's live stream at the end. I think I'm going for Midnight Suns because I'm missing out on some turn-based strategy games there. And the game seems pretty good, very in vein with XCOM kind of a feel there, but with the Midnight Suns Marvel characters there. From what I've saw, what I remember seeing on Christopher Odd's gameplay run, it was very enjoyable, a little bit addicting on that front regarding the gameplay loop there. And the interactions with the characters seems pretty good, so I will give it a shot there. And doing, I think I'm going for Light Hunter because usually I tend to go more Light Hunter kind of a path there on that game. But again, I cannot promise when I'm going to start. But when I have at least some episodes recorded, I will eventually announce when I'm going to start off doing that gameplay series. And after a while, at least, I'm going to maintain one active gameplay series, mainly because of I want to continue to do some live streaming, and probably after finishing Elden Ring, I will jump in New Game Plus, probably try to get a little bit more on be more careful on some NPC quests. Even though in this current gameplay through, I think I'm going for Rani's ending. But yeah, I want to do a new game plus so I can try to navigate the best I can on some NPC quest lines, because I failed a lot of them, and also on the DLC I butchered some NPC quests because there is some stuff that you can get as a reward from the DLC that I didn't get because I missed completely those quests there. But yeah, and probably I will interchange with that string, which is one of those games that I want to continue to play. So there's a little bit more focus on live stream that I wanted to do, and I started. I completely forgot. Yesterday live stream, I did manage to wrap up the DLC. Um, the only thing is, it seems to ended up a little bit on the whimper. At least at the time that I was playing, I was expecting a little bit more. I don't know, closure, let's say, in some of the things that we been checking out throughout the DLC in terms of lore and characters and such. But I didn't take any kind of annotations on the lore stuff and trying to puzzle a lot of stuff that we uncovered throughout the DLC. I usually don't take notes. Everything is on my head. But I started off listening again because I already finished up the DLC. Some connections on the lore and some reasonings of Americas and the Mikla stuff there. I try not to get at this moment in time in huge spoilers, but yeah, some interesting stuff is being put together in my head. But yeah, we'll have to see. Um, yeah, in the upcoming weeks, I will probably start doing more theories here on things that I think that could be put together, or some questions that I have that I don't see any answers to. A little bit trying to add something, not just retreading stuff that it's to a certain degree on the consensus side throughout the community there. But yeah, uh, every day I try to keep everybody on par with the channel's activities. But then again, I do my best, given this is a part-time stuff, so it's my hobby here on the channel. But yeah, everything seems to. I will again try to stream every day still. I need to wrap up the base game there, but yeah, VOD for yesterday's live stream should be up today, probably. I will try to do my best there, and also the Dead Space final episode there. And yeah, next week we'll see what I can do here with the active gameplay series. Let's go to the news then. Again, I covered this when it came out, the Game Pass price hikes. Again, this has already been expected. Um, Again, the reasoning in terms of business, people sometimes miss the business side of things. They just go for the marketing and propaganda, lack of better term, from the companies themselves. But interesting things, again, some revelations. Again, I didn't get all around the merger on the court trials, and not trials, but the discovery part of the thing there, regarding the monopoly worries of the competition, regarding the acquisition of the Activision Blizzard from Microsoft. And funny enough, on the documents there, one of the reasons people shouldn't be worried about that, at least from the consumer side, is that they will not increase Game Pass prices. Basically, it's kind of a promise there, which is basically a misdirection there, because again, now couple got August, September, like 3 months before the supposed, I think Call of Duty should be launched around November time. Like there, we already have the new price scheme, and the fact that on basically anything except for all the standard thing, or the lower cost tiers, except for PC. I think PC has exclusive to day one Game Pass stuff there. But if we are on on the let's say the ecosystem, Xbox ecosystem, you need to have the higher tier to have access to day one games that come out on Game Pass, which is the case there supposedly. Still, they didn't retract or did any kind of alterations from that announcement that Call of Duty, which is like the big title there, coming out. They said it's going to be on day one in Game Pass, and again, they just screw things around, which is the ultimate. You need to pay now $20 per month, which is 240 no yeah $240 per year, which is the equivalent of at least 3 AAA games size there, around that, give or take. Yeah, it's around three games per year. Again, this continuing with this kind of things, yeah, this is not going to be good, because again, not only that, they have to start making money after the acquisition of $17 billion that they had spent to acquire these studios and this publishing company. Yeah, they basically also have basically kept up in terms of expansion on the market, and I'm not understanding very well why they are now turning the strategy of trying to do the what they call ARPU, which is maximize average revenue per paying user, which is now the tactic here, which is upsell and squeeze out the subscribers that they have, because in terms of market cap, I don't see this growing anywhere at the current timeline. And one of the main selling points of the fact of this subscription service is the fact that they had to have a kind of a user base on Xbox. And again, similar to like to views in YouTube, you only get usually on average 20% of views from the channel subscribers, and only 20% of the views usually have a like in terms of interaction and all that jazz. It's the same thing in these kind of things. um, you can have 50 million hypothetically, you can have 50 million people that have an Xbox, but usually, let's say, only 50% of those people will have the any kind of Game Pass kind of thing there. And from the people that have the Game Pass bought, only, let's say, 10% will buy the Ultimate Pass, because they have income, expendable income for that, and probably the other 85 to 90% will have the lower tier Game Pass there. Again, this is trying to upsell and to try to squeeze out the maximum amount of money per user, or per paying user, let's say, regarding this subscription service. The same thing that happens with all subscription services regarding from Netflix, PlayStation Plus, Amazon Prime, all that jazz. They always try to squeeze out with the upticks in terms of pricing on those services. And again, this is not going to be good. This has already been predicted by all kinds of analysts, most favorable and least favorable. And again, the fact that if they are trying to reduce, and I think there is some things that give the hints that probably Xbox will be more focused on the service side than on the console side. I think in the long term it will deteriorate their services, because then you don't have something that can be singled out from your service comparatively to other service. Uh, Mainly because, again, I like, in terms of a consumer side, I think it's still pretty good in terms of the service that you have. Supposedly you can have you can rent the service, let's say, for 3 months. Even on the ultimate tier you pay $60 total, and you have access to a huge library of games that you can play around throughout those 3 months. And for sure you will take, in terms of the quality of the service that you're being offered, you will take advantage of that. So it will be cheaper than trying to buy separately every game that you play throughout that library of service that they provide during those 3 months that you are subscribed. But yeah, ultimately, people tend to forget the business side is basically they have to use that Game Pass revenue for distributed to all the umbrella of developer studios that they have there to make games. And if the user base is not that big, so the revenue is not that big from the Game Pass stuff, you will have to, or you have two options, or you ramp up the pricing and try to squeeze out every money possible from them to maintain the same studios open and the same kind of budgets for the games, or you have to go and cut on the other side, which is basically shutting down studios and have to lower the budgets for the games that they might produce on the studios that are left open. They are trying to do both things at the same time, and usually that's a recipe for disaster, because it can enter in a spiral where you get yourself in a spiral, death spiral, which is basically people don't have or don't want to pay more for that service. They will start unsubscribing, then they get less money. They will keep to try to cut down expenses, which is more studio closures, and lowering even more budgets there. There is a fine control there, and if you are dependent basically on the fact that you are selling a service as a main revenue source, instead of trying to sell consoles kind of almost at a loss, and trying to expand your user base by selling more consoles and providing a good offering in terms of games. If you lose more revenue from that, you're kind of entering yourself in a death loop on the long term, and also to a certain extent to the medium term. And the fact that again, I think, for example, the PC price, even though they ramped up like $2 or $3, it might be still a good service there for PC players. You will never get people to quit from Steam, let's say, to go full throttle on the Game Pass. That will not happen, mainly because of how Steam is ingrained on PC gamers. As a vendor of games, You always have like we just got out from a Steam summer sale. We already have another sale happening there. Some of the games that I will be presenting here, the gaming deals, are from that other sale that happened just right before the Summer Game Fest thingy there. Yeah, as a distributor, Steam as a monopoly, for lack of yeah, they got a monopoly on distributing games in a digital manner. And yeah, there is no way that you're going to try and overtake that by a subscription service, or you offer something in the same vein that Steam, at least for the PC market side of things, or you offer something similar like Steam, and you improve upon it, the services and the quality of the service there, which is pretty difficult at this time and point. Um, or else you're screwed trying to overtake Steam with a service like this. Yeah, because you're Xbox, you don't have, you cannot basically, you can try, but you need to focus on your exclusives titles from the publisher and the developer studios to get around and make some revenue. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. How much they are going to lose out of this, because the price hikes is not like $1 here. It's minimum $2 to $3 to $20 in the annual program thing that have the core Game Pass core, which is an annual thing there, which is it's a lot of money. And the fact they introduced a new tier, which is basically 15 instead of $10, yeah, this is a huge price hike here. I don't know how this is going to this is not going to turn out very well, um, unfortunately, because I really do think that Xbox is an excellent place to belong on the industry there. Again, competition. If you only have, for example, Steam and PlayStation, if Xbox go away, it's worse for everybody else that consumes games and buys games. We need more competition. It would be better if there is another player um, out of nowhere, a third party on the console size that can rise up. I'm not including Nintendo because Nintendo is very niche kind of a thing. They do their own thing there. They don't try to cater to any kind of audience. They do their own thing and they have their own audience, and they manage on the business side of things regarding the audience that they have. They don't try to go about doing things like PlayStation or Xbox. But yeah, I think a third player would be also healthy. So because of we've been seeing a lot of acquisitions, which is not good. Consolidation on a market like this, it's never good for the consumer and even for the industry itself. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how this is going to evolve throughout this year. See how good or not the launch of Call of Duty is going to be regarding Xbox first party studios, basically. In other news, we got Stellar Blade developer. How they called Shift Up. They were doing IPO, so initial public offering, which turned out very good for them. Basically, it's considered the largest amount of gaming firm gathering during an IPO in the almost 3 years. And again, I think this is gaming firm regarding gaming. They are basically roughly similar to KOEI TECMO. Even though KOEI TECMO has been around for a lot of decades, got franchises that they start off like Dead or Alive, Dynasty Warriors, Fatal Frame, Ninja Gaiden, Neon, One Piece, and Rise of the Ronin, which is the latest game there. Romance of the Three Kingdoms, I think I heard this title somewhere somehow recently. This is good to a certain degree because I think it might give them, at least for the time being and the next projects, probably some independence. For example, not being subservient in a certain way of having dictates from publishers like PlayStation do those kind of shenanigans, because the marketing was kind of okayish until it launched on PlayStation exclusively, even though they are now doing some getting some resources for the PC port and such, because usually with PlayStation they tend to be a little bit stringy, like exclusivity. Then like if you have already the game ready to be ported to, for other systems. There is the time exclusivity thing there, and I think with this they might get a little bit more freedom. At least that's my perception. To do a little bit their own thing, work better, work more on their own thing, and be more, let's say, launch or publish their games in other platforms, other than being dependent on the publishing only in one system like PlayStation, what they did with Stellar Blade. But yes, Stellar Blade still, they did around, I think in terms of sales, 1 million copies in, I don't know where, what time frame. I think I saw this in 1 month or something like that. It did sell well for what it is. Yeah, I don't know what. I think I did highlight this stat here. But yeah, completely missed this one out. But yeah, they did a good IPO. It went well so far. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Regarding especially for PC when it comes out, I think it will sell well also on Steam for sure. But yeah, at least the capitalization there went okay. Hopefully their next games are pretty good. They're already working on a game on Unreal Engine 5, I think. So let's see how that project will go also. FromSoftware, I think we heard some rumblings regarding Armored Core 6, regarding some ad postings and such. Again, supposedly this ad posting especially was about character modeler, which supposedly will include modeling textures, characters, or robots. This already been out since 2018, so and supposedly it's still open. I think I heard some rumblings they are probably working on some kind of expansion or DLC for Armored Core 6. I'm not sure how that will go. Or even like a new entry for the game there, given that Armored Core 6 sells pretty well, given the projections that they had for the game. I think they did very well regarding especially sales, and the fact that the game overall had a good reception for a very kind of niche kind of a game, which is Armored Core. It's a very specific kind of gaming genre that not everybody goes into, because it usually tends to be very high skilled kind of a game there. But yeah, it sold well. It got good reception, good reviews. Even the players, everybody that played and usually play these kind of games, had good feedback regarding the game. And I think it's going to be one of those franchises that was revived by FromSoftware, given their pedigree of doing excellent games. Hopefully they will continue to, if not evolve and maybe tinker, maybe try to perfect through Armored Core 6 to prepare themselves for the next entry in the series. But yeah, hopefully they expand their repertoire and they continue to do new IPs, focus a little bit on new IPs. We don't need necessarily the next game to come out from them to be, for example, a sequel for Elden Ring. I think the same way that Elden Ring marinated 2 years without a DLC, and the fact that people keep on playing and keep selling the game, not in the same way that when the game came out, and the fact that the DLC boosted the interest and reinvigorated the game itself. Yeah, I think I think we need kind of things like Sekiro, which is something that it was like a first go at a very technical level or very skilled level game there also, but in a different way, a more linear approach in terms of you play it. So it was very interesting. It's one of those games that I'm interested to play. I will probably be annihilated on Sekiro, but it is what it is. But yeah, we need more different kind of games from software, because what it counts regarding from software is the philosophy of the design, of how they go about designing a game. I think that's the main thing out of it. So I think every project they will commit to, it will have that design philosophy and how they go about doing the game, telling a story, approaching some certain themes that can be related to everybody, with try to perfect it even more, the combat mechanics and all the game loop stuff there, I think it's going to be a great experience, not only for Armored Core, but for other projects that FromSoftware will commit itself to. And we got also, again, this Concord stuff. Again, I'll give props to this to this studio of again, even though it's kind of a clone of Overwatch game there, because it's, I think, what they call it, squad hero shooter or something like that, which is basically Overwatch. Again, they just went for a new IP with all that LGBTQ pronouns nonsense there, but then again, they managed to get around and get some budget to make a game like this. I'll give them props. It will probably serve as a reference point in terms of how the DEI and acronym Mafia kind of influenced game will serve up as a case study, given that it is not it's not a current IP existing, so it doesn't have an existing fan base, let's say, that they can attach to and introduce this kind of philosophies. It will serve as a case study because it's a completely new IP, even though the gaming genre, which is a hero squad shooter, whatever it's called, we'll have to see how this will go. Again, this is not going to go very well, mainly by the fact that there is a lot of games like this, but yeah. But my main thing regarding this article is the early access. The way they went about it, the early access is basically for you to have early access to, not early access, sorry, the beta. The beta, basically you have to buy the game to have access to the beta, given that usually beta in this kind of games usually serve as testing on calibrating certain things regarding the gameplay mechanics and that such. Usually the more beta players that you will have, it's the best for the game. And usually these kind of games usually have always open betas, so everybody can try out, and usually serves as a confidence boost on their product. Usually, okay, gather an open beta, you can play and tick around the game, see what you feel like, because we are confident in our product. We just want to test out, for example, networking stuff there from the server side, and just probably tweak around certain things regarding the gameplay mechanics. I don't know, some weapons or some abilities or something like that, to see how it feels in the overall population of gamers there. But at first they basically blocked the beta access by you have to buy the game. Then a few weeks ago they said, okay, now if you if you pre-order the game, we will give you 4 extra beta access keys for you to play around with your friends. And now basically now they devolve in the sense they just open up, because they are not seeing for sure any kind of pre-orders on their game. Enough people to pre-order their game to have early access. And the fact that this is not even a free-to-play game, it's $40, I think, out of the top, plus the microtransactions associated with this kind of game, which is I don't know how they think this model will work for them, especially on a new IP. And yeah, for at first the beta was only available for those who pre-ordered the game on PlayStation 5 and PC. However, the developers now changed their minds, and the beta will now be available for all PS Plus members. So trying to capture a little bit more of the market base there. Again, this is only like a kind of a backstab on people that already pre-ordered the game, even though there not be that much of persons that bought this game or pre-ordered this game to try out the beta. But yeah, but eventually they now are going to have a full open beta taking place from July 18 to 21. But yeah, yeah, it's kind of a backstab of people trying to wrap up they try to upsell you the beta for you to pre-order the game, which is interesting enough. But yeah, basically this is it. We'll have to see when this game comes out, which I'm really not sure when it comes out there. Again, this is kind of a beta stuff still. Yeah, I don't see any kind of concrete launch date for this game. Yeah, this is not a game for me. I don't even like this kind of games like Overwatch and the such. But I don't think this is going to work out very good. Maybe it can be a wake-up call for them on the publisher side. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And finally, we got a little bit more evolution on the case of Assassin's Creed Shadows. We got the petition going there. I think it's continuing to gathering signatures there, which is good. And this is starting to reach to politicians in the sense that the politicians that are in the legislative body, I don't know, the equivalent of uh, um, the representatives there, again, depending on the country and what kind of democracy you have, or how the legislative body it's done. In Japan, I'm going to butcher this. It's not diet for sure. Maybe diet. I don't know how you pronounce this. Probably it's an acronym for the legislative body there. But yeah, it's already went reached to Satoshi Hamada, and he signaled through, I think, through X, that it might bring up this situation to the country's legislative body for altering the country's history, architecture, and more, as well as potentially using AI to generate images for the time period the game is supposed to be set. Again, as a game, usually is a work of fiction. But I think the main issue is how Ubisoft went about marketing the game, which is if it was something in the same vein that all other Assassin's Creed went, which they take some key points of history and then they embellished for narrative purpose, for the game narrative purpose. It's one thing. It's already been done. We got from the pirates, got from the Da Vinci era there, from Italy Renaissance period there. We got ancient Egypt kind of a thing there. Where we got the Valhalla one, which is from the Viking stuff era there. Again, they take some stuff from history and then they embellished, and everybody knows that it is what it is. But here they took to the next level, which is basically marketing the game and trying to sell the game as historically accurate, especially on the Yasuki person. That, yes, everybody knows that he existed. He was a retainer for Oda Obunaga. I always butcher his name. But they say no, that Yasuke was really a samurai and he went around saving people all over the place. And again, mischaracterization. And given that, again, if you have something like I saw an anime series a long time ago which was called Black Samurai, and the English dub was even voiced by Samuel L. Jackson at the time. If you want something like that, everybody knows it's okay, it's based on a character, and then you pick up in what if scenario, and then you go about there. Even if you butcher a little bit here, the architecture and everything. But again, it's the fact that they said it is based on historical, it has historical accuracy, which is kind of interesting because not even the weather, the weather, the season, the weather seasons are correct on on all the footage that we've been seeing. Because I think when you have cherry blossoms blossom around, there is no other kind of flora around because it belongs to another season. Again, I'm not sure the specifics. I never went to Japan, not very informed regarding it. But yeah, they butcher also the architecture because even at that time, given that the way they do the architecture of the houses there, everything usually is architecture is goes around on the level of the eyes, and usually the level of the eyes on Japanese culture is more lower because they usually don't have tables and chairs to sit down. They usually the knee on the ground there, so that even the architecture there is completely off, and I think even on the period stuff there is wrong. Then you got all the figurines that they had. The banner that Yasuko has is a completely different one on the banner that he has on the armor. A lot of shit happened with this game, and supposedly I think even this guy is going to be a gay guy or something like that. Just because Ubisoft thinks it's the most accurate historical accuracy thing that you can do for a character like this. But yeah, continue. This is translated using DeepL. I don't know what It's a translator. It's not Google Translate, but it's something like that. Basically, the main gist is request for opinions. We have received a consultation regarding the alteration of Japanese history by a French game company, which is sweet. A colonial empire, imperialistic colonialist empire, which did a lot of shit. The same way as English to a certain extent, the Spanish, the Portuguese. Yeah, trying to dictate what Japanese history is, but yeah. We share the consultation below with images. We have also quoted a post that we believe points out the problem with the game in question. We will be happy to receive your comments and suggestions, including specific requests. Again, this is the politician trying to gather information regarding the situation after he received this complaint, for lack of better terms, and they open up for consultation to receive as much information that they could regarding the situation, so they can probably legislate against this game. Continuing, again, this is the translation not the best here. Don't there is a quoted post there. Don't misunderstand why Assassin's Creed is on fire. Black people are the main characters. Don't really care. Non-Japanese people are flaming on their own. I asked a Japanese expert to make it. Okay, so basically, I think it's the main complaints here: messed up seasons, messed up buildings, messed up mannerisms. Do you really listen to him? It's a premiere box with concept art as a bonus. Expensive suspicion of AI that learn the photos of Japanese period messed up. Okay, so that's probably the AI again. It messed up the I don't know, the prompts or something like that. Then it continues. We make a concept video. Chinese subtitles were added by mistake. Quicksilver gathers complaints. Maker is upset. Don't complain. Racism. This is where the Japanese get the most upset. The problem is the manufacturer's negligence in not admitting even one of their own mistakes. Signature Drive begins to demand that the product not be released here and now. Again, you can get kind of a gist of this. Again, Japanese language, especially the kanjis there, it's always difficult to translate. You have to speak the language so you can have context. There is a lot of context translating from Japanese to English. But yeah, you can get the gist of it. The signatures now are 80k plus. And yeah, they even had the latest one that I covered. Ubisoft Japan had to issue an apology, which is a big thing there, issuing an official apology from company regarding anything. It's a little bit a big thing there, because usually companies don't issue anything in terms of apologies because it's kind of bending the knee to a certain degree if you have to officially apologize for something. Again, for using the black flag from Sekigahara Teppo Corps without a reenactment's group permission. The black flag was shown in a promotional video for the game, as noted by the formal Grums, Mark Kern. But yeah, they are probably going to get around and open up. At least this politician, Satoshi Hamada, is open up for consultation to maybe gather a case to probably ban the game or demand some alterations for the how do they call it, oh my god, I forgot the word that I want to use, for the localization of the game. Probably they will demand something like that, and if Ubisoft doesn't comply, they will outright ban the game. And again, I think that's a right that assists Japanese people. It's their culture. Again, there's been a lot of series, movies that doesn't depict faithfully Japanese culture, specifically like time period stuff. Doesn't represent that well. But again, they are works of fiction, and everybody understands this is a work of fiction, so it's an inspiration from a time period. Usually it's the Edo period or something like that. They usually people go about because it was where samurais were more prominent, which is like one of the big things that attract people to that time period on Japanese history. But yeah, the problem is, again, Ubisoft made a mistake that saying this is going to be a very historically accurate game. They marketing that way. They forcing their hand on people that say it is not. They say it is, and it will reach to a point that if you're, again, cultural appropriation, it will take some precedence there for sure. and probably Ubisoft will have two options: alter a lot of stuff there, at least for the localization of the Japanese side of things, or they will have basically altered, will be outright ban of selling the game in Japan. Which again, agreeing or not, is I think it's a right from them to deny this kind of stuff to go about in Japan, and even Japanese people are not happy with this. Again, this reached to the hands of this politician that it is on Japanese diet, let's say like that way, because people were complaining and taking up to the legislative body persons there. Yeah, or that, or Ubisoft will have to change a lot of stuff in the game, which is not going to happen because the game will come out in a couple of months time. So yeah, this is going to be a shit show for Ubisoft. Yeah, the only chance that the main regret from Assassin's Creed that was made since Assassin's Creed 1 was to make it one in future Japan, and they fucked this up big time. Like they ramp up to 11 on this one, and it's not going to work out well. And especially on the time period, they really need to have like a hit, especially on Assassin's Creed thing. And then we got the Star Wars Outlaws will come out later this year, I think, November or October, something like that. Yeah, this is going to be a shit show. And the fact that this is creeping up on the news cycle until the game comes, it's not going to be good for Ubisoft, that's for sure. But they still waving the flag of they are very DEI compliant, and all the SCG, the Jedi, the bridge, all the acronym mafia stuff there that these guys like to invent for themselves. Yeah, this is going to be a shit show for sure. For me, I stopped playing Assassin's Creed since Black Flag. My main favorites are the first one, the Ezio trilogy, and basically Black Flag. I think the one that takes in Paris seemed pretty interesting in certain things. They polished a lot of stuff regarding the parkour system there. But yeah, other than that, I stopped playing Assassin's Creed because it got annualized. It's kind of putting the same shit on a different bucket. So yeah. Um, this is what I got in terms of news. So in terms of gaming deals, we got Dragon's Dogma 2, 20% off. Again, summer's game sale, summer sale, whatever. The summer sale is up, but you still have some remaining games that are now on the deal, and Dragon's Dogma 2 is one of them. Again, they've been patching up in terms of performance wise, so I think it's a little bit better. Not perfect, but I think it's a little bit better, and hopefully they take the feedback that they did with the survey that they did specifically for Dragon's Dogma 2, and will take into account and improve even more on the game. Because the game, in terms of the mechanics associated with everything, it's pretty good. The only complaints that I've been seeing is performance-wise, and maybe having a little bit more variety in terms of the monsters and the such. It's the only thing that I usually see more detected there that people want from this game. Other than that, the game seems pretty good. That's why you got the mixed things there. But yeah, we got Liza Pi or P, 40% off again until the 16th, so we got at least a handful of days. We got Cocoon, which is the new thing that I was talking about. We had summer sale, the summer sale. Now we got celebration days until the 20th. This is part of this. So Cocoon 40% off. Then we got Aliens Dark Descent 50% off. We got the Plague Tale. Again, Plague Tale Innocence is on sale if you buy a bundle with Requiem, but Requiem by itself is on sale 60% off. You can buy both games, again depending if you only have the first one. I prefer I think this one, it serves best because it's the game that you need to complete. But if you want to buy, you buy the two games if you don't have any of those. Then you got Near Replicant, 60% off, which a remaster of the prequel to Near Automata, which is also 60% off. But yeah, this is it for today. Yeah, I will wrap up here with a plug on my Patreon for extra support. As always, extra support is moment in time for me to be able to get around better storage solution for me to handle backups of the stuff that I do for my clients, and of course some extra space for the videos that I do for the channel. And with all that said, I hope you haven't filet. Now we'll see you in the next one. So till then, Kunamy Master out.